Today's topic: are there limits to what you can allow in your relationship, and where and how do you draw the line? This is inspired. Oh, by the way, I'm Shauna White, relationship coach for spiritually awake couples. This topic is inspired by a question that I received yesterday, which I will read to you right now. So my face is going to turn. Chester asked, how do you feel about setting limits in a relationship? And I said, what do you mean by limits? And he said, example, if she doesn't get help about her addiction, he will leave her, or I'm only interested in a monogamous relationship. There are countless examples. So, and what are your thoughts about setting limits, and how do you help people who resist verbalizing their limits? So what are my thoughts? Thank you so much for the question, Chester. And I'm happy to address this topic. This is really important also because I talk a lot about allowing and flow, finding flow, letting go of control, letting go of trying to figure out how to get your needs met, and so that you can flow in a way with your partner that gets your needs met without asking for them, which doesn't mean that we don't communicate, but it's a different way of communicating. And it's hard to describe in words. It's much easier to describe an experience with the exercises that I give people tailored to them and their unique situation when I work with people. So, but this question, allowing is not about being a doormat. So it's not that you just allow anything and anything goes. But where do you draw the line? If you try to draw the line from your, well, okay, this is a little hard to describe. There's like, when you come from your head or when you come from a deeper place of connection inside yourself, these are two places that you can come from. And this is the issue of alignment that I'm always talking about. So when you come from that deeper place inside yourself, where you feel connected to yourself, that's what I help people with, where you're in alignment with yourself, that gives you that gives you the ability to feel a flow that you can share with your partner. When you're not connected to yourself and you are just trying to be comfortable the way that you learned how, and that's what your definition of love is, that's very personalized, and trying to make your relationship work according to that Bible is going to involve control, because it's your idea that you should get flowers on Valentine's Day and you should get your partner. I can't tell you how many posts I read of people who are like, I really want to connect with my partner. I bought her lingerie, she won't wear it. In other words, I'm trying to save my relationship, so I'm telling my partner what to do so that our relationship will be spiced up and saved. Or been with my husband for 20 years and there's no spark left. He won't take me on a date. He won't this, he won't that, he won't this. And all the problems are the fact that he won't. But what will she do? Because in other words, that's an example of I have my definition of love, and the way the relationship will be successful is if my partner fits into my definition of love. And that's what does not work. So if that's where your ideas or that's where you draw the line about what you can allow in your relationship is, well, I can't allow my boyfriend to get away with not initiating a date, then okay, that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to control anybody. If that's where you want to draw your line, then that's fine. However, that's limiting the potential. So how do you draw a line that's not actually about limiting the potential? It comes from when you tap into that alignment with yourself and you feel that flow. That flow is a flow of what feels right and healthy in alignment with love as given to you by divine love. That's really what I'm helping people tap into. So, excuse me, I had watermelon from my garden. It was really good and it felt really, really wholesome. And anyway, I'll leave it there. Oh, that's funny. So anyway, so when you come from a place of alignment, then what happens is that you start to have um, you allow flow, you allow your partner to be, but you also have, that doesn't feel right. Not to my comfort zone and my definition of love, but to my sense of flow in connection with myself. And now you have what I call deal breakers. So if your partner insists on doing something or wanting to do something that you just can't feel right with, then that's a deal breaker. And here's an example. Actually, for a short time I dated a very interesting man a long time ago. Yeah, over a decade ago. He was intellectually brilliant. He was ethically admirable. Um, but he had different ideas about how he wanted to be in the world sexually than what worked for me. But it was so interesting because the way he sold it to me, he wanted to be with me and he wanted to be intimately and sexually with me, but he also wanted to be with another person at the same time. And he tried to sell the idea to me that it was very progressive, and I felt that I should be open to it because I wanted to be open-minded. I wanted to come from love. I wanted to walk in alignment with love. And so I thought that I should be open to this idea of him being with me and with her. But something about it didn't feel right. And it took me a while to pull that apart. And what I realized was that I didn't actually feel like he was moving from love for what he wanted to do with the both of us. It felt like he was moving from lack and need. And so when I realized that, it gave me permission to understand that this is not something I want to be part of. And because so my North Star is that is to walk in alignment with divine love and to be what I have found. The reason why is because I found that every time I do that, every step, every adventure that I do in alignment with divine love inside myself is beautiful, wholesome, and healing and wonderful, and uh, opens up so much healing and so much like multidimensional growth. So I have, from experience over the last nearly 3 decades of practicing this, I have grown to trust that divine love always has my best interest in mind. And so I was trying to figure out, how do I approach this situation that he was proposing from a place of alignment with divine love and not alignment with my comfort zone. So I was like, well, um, maybe I need to be allowing here. But I realized his motivation was not in alignment with divine love. It was selfish and needy, and a distraction from alignment inside himself. And so it felt off to me. And so I did not allow that. But that doesn't mean that I tried to control him. I didn't. I walked away. And here's the other part of Chester's question: how do you help people express their deal breakers? And what prevents people from expressing their deal breakers is their fear that they're going to lose something that they feel like they need. And in fact, that even prevents people from acknowledging deal breakers. So so the way I help people with that is I work with them on their ability to connect with flow and love inside themselves, to build up their sense of strength and well-being inside themselves. Because the reason why we cling to relationships is because we feel broken inside, and we feel like, I need this relationship to make me whole. And so I can't acknowledge the deal breaker. I can't even see that my partner is doing something that doesn't work with my self-care because I can't afford to lose this relationship because this relationship is making me whole. So I work with people on strengthening their inner alignment so that they can rest in peace and a sense of wellness, wholeness, and connection inside themselves so that they can walk more clearly in self-care in their relationship. And then from that place, they can share with their partner not from hurt necessarily, but from clarity that, and not from fear, but from clarity that this doesn't work for me. And again, it's not about controlling the partner. It's about having an honest conversation of what do we both want here. And if, you know, if somebody wants to do their thing and their thing doesn't work for you, then I call it a deal breaker because that's what happens is it breaks the deal. Like we can only um, be healthy in a relationship that genuinely works for both people. But the path to finding the clarity to navigate that is always rooted in self-care, and self-care goes very deep into our inner connection with divine love in the center of our being. I spent years hitting my head against a wall in my love life, hurting myself over and over and over again, trying to make it work with someone who it didn't work with. It didn't work with, but I was trying to make it work anyway. And I was not seeing what would have been my deal breakers because I couldn't afford to see them because I needed this relationship. And I could not break out of that pattern. And in fact, I could not attract any higher caliber people to me or better matched people to me until I healed the way I felt broken inside by connecting with divine love in my heart and realizing that that was where the unconditional love that I was searching for, that's where it came from. That's where it actually was. And that every time I walked out on my inner connection with divine love, I was making love look flighty and conditional to myself because I was flighty and conditional. I only showed up for myself when there wasn't anything else more important for me to focus on. So I had to have a deep reframe to heal the way that I was broken in myself and in my relationship to myself. And when I did that, boy, was it so easy to see and to say my deal breakers and to honor them with no issue. And after a couple of years of doing that, then I found I happened across the most amazing man that I've ever met in a romantic context, and then all kinds of growth started from that relationship, which we're over 4.5 years now. So anyway, so that's the story with limits to what you can allow in your relationship. It's not anything goes. It's what is aligned with love goes. And the way to see that clearly is to get right with love inside yourself so that you're not compensating for brokenness inside by clinging to your relationship. That is the summary. If you have any thoughts about that, I'd love to hear them. If you would like to talk about how to get from the challenges that you're experiencing in your relationship now to effortless intimacy with your partner, then hit me up in the DMs and let's have a conversation. All right, take care.